Coming up next, when you should take a pay cut and the psychological benefits of actually commuting to work. Got some data on this, and it's fascinating. Plus, we take your calls, and it all starts right now. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Ken Coleman Show. We're coming to you live from our Ramsey Solutions studios, and you're joining a conversation about who you are, your uniqueness, what you were created to do, your contribution to this world that we need, where you can do it, and then how to actually get there. It is about your purpose and purpose in your work, because you were created to work. Another way of saying this is you were created to contribute. And so there's so many of you that are in different stages. That's why we have the 7 stages. Everybody fits within the 7 stages. It's a climb to really stepping in and doing that work that you were born to do. Stage 1 is get clear. Stage 2 is get qualified. Stage 3 is get connected. Stage 4 is get started. Stage 5 is get promoted. Stage 6 is get the dream job. And stage 7 is give yourself away. This is where you're working like no one else. You're truly working for legacy. The money's already there. The notoriety, whatever that looks like, wherever you are, is there. You're truly now building a legacy. And this is what everybody longs to do, is to make a difference. So we're going to teach you how to make the income you need and the impact you want. Go from paycheck to purpose, no matter where you are on the journey. Some of you just think, Ken, I need to get promoted. I want to get promoted. I'm in the process of getting promoted. How do I get there? Hey, I'm leading now. I'm in that dream job. How do I maximize it? It doesn't matter where you are in those 6 stages. I'm your counselor, your coach, and your cheerleader. You're one phone call away. 844-747-2577. Toll free, 844-747-2577. All right, let's get started on a very important topic. It's a question that feels really hairy, really scary, and as though it is almost impossible to answer, but it really is answerable. Let me give you 3 ways to answer it. Here's the question. When is it okay? When is it smart? When is it on purpose to take a pay cut? To take a pay cut to move to where you want to be. Because nobody wants to take a pay cut, and I don't want you to take a pay cut, but are there times where you must take a pay cut and should take a pay cut in order to advance towards where you ultimately know you need to be? And the answer is yes. So when should I take a pay cut? Give you 3 questions, or not 3 questions, but they're posed in the form of a question. The first one is when you can. When you can. This is all about finances. Can you take a pay cut and absorb it without putting yourself in financial ruin or put yourself in too tight of a financial position to be able to sustain it because it's too stressful? So it's when you can. So if you can take a pay cut, absorb it because of your budget, the way you're living, or you've planned for it. So when you can, it's okay to take the pay cut when you can. So that is a financial classification there. I can absorb it, and it's not going to put us in a tough spot. Number 2, when it's temporary. You can take the pay cut when it's temporary, meaning you know this is a temporary deal. So really, the first one, when you can, feeds into when it is temporary. So when you can, okay, I can do it, but I know it's also temporary. So I can do it, but I also know it's temporary, because what it means is I'm taking a temporary pay cut and it's getting me on a ladder, and it's temporary. 6 months to a year later, boom, I'm going to jump right back to where I was or go above and beyond where I was financially. And then the third is when it's necessary. So it's got to be all 3, by the way. These don't stand alone. They all work together. You can and should take a pay cut when these 3 characteristics are in place. And obviously, it is a strategic step. But even though it's strategic, if you can't afford it, then don't do it. Even if it's strategic and it's not temporary and it's a really long 2, 3, 4 year deal, no, don't do this. Don't take the pay cut. Even if it's strategic. but it's not necessary, don't do it. If it's the only way, I mean, it is, you have to pay your dues here. That's what necessary means. You have to do it. It's just a part of the deal. It's the only way to move up because you got to get that entry-level experience or certain experience, and then you get that. So it's got to be all three. When should you take a pay cut? When you can afford to do it, when it is temporary, and we're talking about 6 months to a year max is what I'm defining as temporary. And then third, when it's necessary. It's the only way. It's the only way. So you get answers, those three. Is it doable? Can we do it financially? Is it temporary? 6 months to 12, 6 to 12 months. And is it necessary? If it's yes, 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 then you do it. But if it's no to any one of the three, don't take the pay cut. There's a better opportunity coming along. 844-747-2577 is the phone number to jump in. 844-747-2577. Let's get to the phones. Tim is on the line in Farmington, Michigan. Tim, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's going on?
So I've been pondering this question lately, and I'm really glad you're going over this on the show today. So I just graduated college, and I currently work as a professional gambler, self-employed. My current income is $10,000 to $20,000 per month.
Okay, pause. Time out. This is fascinating to me. What do you mean professional gambler specifically? I understand what a professional gambler is, but what are we talking about? Horses, poker?
So I have a stats background from college, and I gamble on sports.
And that's all you do?
Yes.
And you're averaging $10,000 to $20,000 a month?
Yes.
All right. Go ahead.
So this is not a very long-lasting career because eventually you do get limited by a sports book.
Yeah.
So,
not to mention it's ridiculously risky.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
Though I've been in the field now for 6 months, it's been going very well. Though being just out of college, I feel like I do have to build a resume in a real career per se, because once this does run out,
hey dude,
just
all right, time out, Tim.
Good.
I'm trying to be really nice and listen, and I want to help you. But let's just establish one other thing. This isn't a career field, and you're not self-employed. You're gambling, and you're in a 6-month run right now. The way you're framing this is ridiculous. And I'm your friend, but you're framing this like, well, I've been in the field for 6 months. No, you're not in the field. You're gambling. You're on a good run for 6 months, dude. I've got friends who do this because they're very wealthy. So it's not their career, It's not their livelihood. And these dudes are like, man, I'm going to tell you something. I can get on a hot streak, and then I lose everything I bet on. So, brother, let's reframe this conversation. We'll spend the rest of our time trying to help you figure out what it is you really want to do. But this is not a career field, and you are not self-employed. Okay?
Okay.
You're playing with fire, dude, and you know it. So now, how can I help you?
So being that I've been doing this for the last couple of months, I feel like I do have to find a career. And one thing I'm looking for in a career is a company that has good, strong values and works internationally with room to grow and a way to really build my resume and build myself in the trade.
Which trade?
I always dreamed of being an international salesman.
Oh, good.
Traveling abroad, meeting with manufacturers. But I've really struggled to find out how to get into that field.
Well, wait a second. So let's slow down from I want to eventually be in international sales. So let's call that the top of the mountain. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's not overthink this. The most simple way for you to get to a point where you can travel around the world and sell big things. Okay, because you're not traveling around the world to sell shoes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way to do that is just to become a really good salesperson. And you could start selling cars. You could start selling clothes. You could start selling shoes, for that matter. You could start selling insurance. You could sell anything. I would become a really good salesperson. And quite honestly, while I think we can be a bit more strategic than this, I want to make sure you understand the best way to get there is to become really good at selling something way down the line and then begin to move from one particular area of sales and try to move your way into more specific to where you're in an industry selling something that will allow for international sales. So if you start to think about, well, how in the world do I get, it's intimidating when you think about the globe. What you got to think about are what are the products and services, and I'm guessing it's heavier on the product side, but maybe it's service oriented as well. But anytime you're selling anything, it's products and services. So what are the products and services that are very internationally robust? And I'd be looking at that and then go, okay, now that I kind of know that, how would I begin to ease my way into that? So, you're in Farmington, Michigan. Is that a suburb of Detroit?
Yes.
Okay. So what are the biggest ticket items that potentially have an international connection or international business just in the Detroit area? Let's just put you to the test.
Automobiles.
There you go. So one would want to get into automotive sales or work for Ford or one of the big three or Chevy or whatever they're selling something within the big company. So how would you get in there and work your way up? And then you get a point where you go, well, that we know they're selling things internationally and we know they're selling vehicles.
A question regarding that.
Yeah.
As a college graduate, would you recommend taking an entry-level career there, or should I be shooting a little bit higher having a degree?
Well, why not both? I mean, you want to eventually get into international business, international sales. So if you can get in a little bit higher than entry level because of your college degree, which is what? What's your degree in?
Statistics.
Yeah, not a bad idea to get in the company based on statistics, and because they think you're a number cruncher, which you are. But then when they realize that you've got some sales ability and you've got some personality and some communication skills, and I'm assuming that's the case with you.
I like to think so.
Okay, good. So my point is that, you get in with statistics, and then you start, once you're in the company you're in, then you start getting really strategic in the hallway, in the cafeteria, lunchtime. And and you start talking with people that are in the international side of the business, and then you want to eventually work your way over there, and maybe you go do statistics over there for a while. Then you get into where you're really into more of a sales or something like that. So yes, I think I'd go both routes. I would be willing as a gambler. Good grief, man.
Yeah.
The good news about what you're doing is you got guts.
I don't like to call myself a gambler too, because I do try to take a more mathematical approach to it.
I think you do. And listen, I'm not questioning your ability as a gambler. I'm not questioning that. You're a stats guy. You're playing the numbers, and you're doing a darn good job of it. But it doesn't remove the risk. All right. Yeah. And so my point is this. My point is you got guts, and so I'd go for something a little higher up the ladder. But at the same time, you're young, and if you got to get entry level into one of those big three automotive places there, do that. But I love this journey. I love this. So it doesn't have to be cars, but that's one example that I gave you. So we've played out the teaching. We've played out the practicality of my answer. You want to be in international business? You better start working for a business that's got international business, right? And you work your way up. 844-747-2577 is the number. Let's go to Louisville, Kentucky. Joyce joins us on the line there. Joyce, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Joyce.
For taking my call again.
Oh, this is a return call.
Yes, sir. You gave me some great advice.
Okay. How long ago was this?
This was just a couple months ago. I am from the travel, tourism, hospitality business, and I had to pivot because of the pandemic, and I had a great interview with a really awesome company.
Okay.
And I asked you how to follow up with them from the, via email or whatever. And I asked them, what can I be doing between now and when you hire me? To acclimate myself to the company and its culture. And they emailed me back right away, and he was thrilled with the question, and he said, I'd like you to read From Good to Great.
Oh, good.
And it was a wonderful book, and I really appreciated it, and I was hired.
Good.
It's in medical finance. I'm an accounts receivable collector.
Okay.
And
You're laughing.
I like,
so you like it, but it's not very exciting. I'm guessing.
It can be. It's new
Good.
because insurance companies are crazy.
Okay.
But
so what's your question?
it's new and different every day. But my question is, travel and hospitality and tourism are coming back.
Yes,
and
they are.
in a bigger way than I ever expected, and a lot sooner than I expected. And I have a holistic wellness background. I have a relationship coaching background. I studied for over 13 years in that industry, and my heart is really in that industry. And
Well,
I feel
hold on
like
a
I
second.
have
Hold
so
on a
much
second.
to give.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I'm keeping up with you. Is your heart in the
Yes.
travel and tourism industry, or in the relationship coaching, whole wellness, and all that? That's what or is that all the same thing in your mind?
In my mind, it goes together.
Okay. All right. I'm tracking. Keep going with your question.
Just for a little bit of background, I used to work at one of the higher end luxury wellness resorts as an advisor.
Gotcha. All right. I'm tracking now. Okay. So what's your question?
I was really good at it, and I want to get back into that field, but I am not in proximity because of where my family is, and I have aging parents, grandchildren, all of that, and I struggle with being back in that industry.
Okay, so
it almost makes me very sad.
Yeah, I can tell. But are you telling me that you're not sure how you're going to ever do this because you're anchored in Louisville because of your aging parents, and you're saying there's not the kind of spa resorts, that kind of stuff in the Louisville area?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not in proximity. Yes, and they almost always want you to be on property.
Where were you living before when you were in that business, that industry?
Arizona.
Yeah. Okay. Hello. So you're telling me there's no fine 5-star resorts in Louisville, Kentucky?
No.
Okay.
And actually, I had her say a different place where I'm actually at. I'm in the Midwest.
Oh, I see. We're trying to protect. I get it. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I'm in the upper Midwest.
Okay, so...
And it's not here. I've looked and looked.
I'm with you. No, I believe you. Okay. That's what threw me off, because I was like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I want to point out to our audience, we will do this for you. We will change your name. We'll change your location so that, somebody may be listening. And I'm so glad you actually, because that's why I asked. I was diving into the area. We made up an area to protect her privacy. So that's why we do that, folks. And we'll do that for you as well. Okay. Well, here's the problem. Unless I'm missing something, I need you to make sure I'm not missing any details.
Sure.
Because of your commitment to your parents and wanting to be there, you may be in a temporary pause. But I'm saying the word temporary. It's awful to say. I don't know how many years you think your parents are going to live, but if you're committed to being around the parents because they're aging and this is a season, and I get it. Then it's one of those things where it's no different than what Stacy and I had to do when I decided to go after broadcasting. And I knew it was going to take 5 to 7 years. So I was going to have to be patient and start a business that would allow me to be self-employed and take care of the family and everything, and then work my way into broadcasting. It was going to take years. And so we had a mindset for, well, it's just not going to happen overnight. That's one option for you to go, it's a season of life where I'm going to be an accountant. I'm going to do this other work, but I'm going to keep my relationships alive in the tourism industry because you've got plenty of relationships. And I'm going to keep a connection to that. And then when the season changes, then I'll move back. That's one option. Well, the other option is to go, well, I love my mom and dad. I want to be around my mom and dad, but the thing that I'm called to do, the thing that I'm created to do is going to pull me away from this area.
Yeah.
I know that's not a fun choice. But unless I'm missing something, that's what this boils down to. Because you're saying the industry won't allow you to work remotely.
Not typically. I did find my same level position that I was in before, and they said you could be 3 hours away and work remotely as long as you were committed to coming into the property.
So that becomes a third option.
So I emailed them and sent them all of my resume, and then typed a very passionate cover letter.
Yeah.
Hoping that they would considering my experience and my passion for the industry and for helping people in that way.
Yeah.
Because what I do is I create the experience for them, and when they need wellness.
Well, here's the thing. That's your third option. Is don't stop looking. You have nothing to lose. Yeah. So continue to look for, if the third option is the only option for you right now, where you look for a resort or a company that allow you to do what you do, travel some more maybe than you'd want to, but you're still there. You're still anchored and you can see your parents a lot, but maybe you're traveling a good bit. That's your third option. The remote option is a viable option. I'd keep looking. Sounds to me, I can hear your heart. Sounds like that's the only option right now. But if that's the only option, keep looking for it. And if it doesn't materialize, understand that this is a season and you're choosing to stay where you are. And I do not question that. I do not criticize that. Family is a big, 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 big deal. But you must understand that's your number one priority if that's what you're choosing. Therefore, it's going to limit you. It just is. But it's a season, and don't have this lie in your head that, hey, if I'm out of the industry for 5 or 7 or 8 years, I can't get back in. That's not true. You have too much experience, too much knowledge. 844-747-2577. All right, one of the biggest angst challenges that we hear from you is that it's just awful when you got to start over, or when you're in a company where you're comfortable with what you know, but you're uncomfortable with the idea of change and putting yourself out there to get a job. The job search process is not fun. It's just not. And that's why I'm excited that we've decided to partner with ZipRecruiter. I mean, you think about all the things, many of you would rather just sit in the car in the heat and sweat to death than actually go into the office one more day or even start looking for it. You'd watch paint dry. There's a long list of things you'd rather do than put yourself out there and start the application process. I get it, but it doesn't have to be that way. And ZipRecruiter's really figured this out. They're the number one hiring site in the world, and there's a reason. Because here's what they're doing. They're making the process better by making it easier. When you sign up at ZipRecruiter.com, you start with a free profile. By the way, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Did you hear me? It's free. And here's what they do. They start matching you to great jobs, and they proactively pitch you to companies to the point where a company gets a pitch from ZipRecruiter about you, and the company can contact you directly. So this is taking my proximity principle, and it's adding a whole bunch of arrows. All the strategies that I teach you work, but now you got ZipRecruiter actively pitching you, and people can reach out to you direct, and it's free. So go to ZipRecruiter.com. It's one click, ZipRecruiter.com, and you sign up for free right now. Absolutely free, and put them to work for you. I'm really excited about this relationship. All right, quick break. When we get back, in the news, interesting article. The commute's actually better for you than maybe you think. Don't move. This is the Ken Coleman Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs.
We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. We're coming to you live from our Ramsey Solutions studios in Nashville. Beautiful, beautiful building. People are welcome to come watch the show. It doesn't cost you anything, and we give you free baked goods, hot beverages, cold beverages, comfortable seats. You can watch the show, and we love to come out and meet you and say hello. So RamseySolutions.com. Come visit us. It'll tell you when we're doing shows, and most of the time we're doing something 5 days a week. This show, of course, Monday through Friday, coming to you at 12 Eastern Standard Time. All right, it's time for In the News, Nathan. Let's see what's next. The psychological benefits of commuting to work. What? You know, everybody seems to be loving the remote work. You know, COVID was awful, but so many people were like, I love working at home in my pajamas. It's so nice. I don't want to commute to work. Okay. Interesting. Is that true? Turns out it's not true. So in 1994, we're going back in the way back machine. Madison doesn't even know what 1994 is. But Joe and I and Amanda do. How old was Madison in 1994? You weren't even born. I thought so. Oh, good. I was right. I said that with a heavy dose of sarcasm, not even realizing when she was born because it's too much math for me at this point. And I was actually right. I was a sophomore in college. Yeah, she was 4. Oh, Nathan was 4. Nathan, the director, was 4. Madison wasn't even born. Oh, my gosh. I was a sophomore in college. Joe had just become a senior citizen at that point. So
no,
that's not true. How old were you in 1994, Joe?
I don't even want to think about it.
See, you can't even compute it either. You got to take your shoes off.
Math is too hard.
Yeah, math is too hard.
Yes.
1994, an Italian physicist named Cesare Marchetti. Boy, I love the Italian names. Found that through history, humans have shown a willingness to spend roughly 60 minutes a day in transit. That's pretty fascinating. He didn't say it was desirable. He said that he found that there was a willingness for people to spend 60 minutes a day in a commute. Now, right now, as we sit in 2021, the one-way average for an American commute stands at about 27 minutes. In 2001, 2 researchers from the University of California, Davis, attempted to figure out the ideal commute time, and they settled on 16 minutes as the ideal commute time. I'm not going to break down how they did that, but they did all this research and asked people all these questions, and they came at that conclusion. But here's what's interesting. As they began to study people on this and ask them their opinion, by which they arrived at, well, the ideal commute time would be 16 minutes. Here's what they derived was the benefit of a commute. A feeling of control in one's car. Let me tell you, as a parent of 3, sometimes just getting in the car and shutting the door, not even turning the daggum thing on, you go, ah. So I get that, Nathan. You got young kids. You know that. Nathan's smiling big right now. You get excited when you get in the car every morning.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
He does. He's in the middle of it. Tell people how old your kids are.
They're 5, 3, and 2.
Oh, yeah. My man gets in the car, and he's just like, ah. You don't even have to turn any music on to calm you.
Oh, yeah. That's our quiet, happy place.
That's your quiet, happy place. Yeah. All right. So Nathan's exhibit A of that first one. The feeling of control in one's own car. All right. The time to plan. You know, the thinking time. I love the thinking time that I get behind the wheel of a car. The time to decompress. Again, crazy in the morning for Nate. He's got 3 kids. It's nuts. I got 3 teenagers. Amanda's got kiddos. It's nuts. And you get in the car, and it's time to decompress from all the crap you just dealt with in the morning. I just got an amen praise hands from Amanda back in the control room there. To make calls. It's a time of productivity. I love doing calls. I'm famous for making calls on my way into work. And I've gotten in trouble before because I get lost in the call. All right. I love making calls in the car, coming and going. It's rare that I just am like sitting there staring through the window. Those are good call time for me. And then, hey, how about podcasts? Hello. Thanks to all the podcast listeners of the Ken Coleman Show. You're listening in the car. You're listening to audiobooks. It's a time of growth. So a time of control, a time to decompress, a time to be productive, and a time to grow. So the researchers basically came out and said the commute has some positive utility. Not surprising at all. But, you know, I'm going to throw one more angle in here. I think it's a great time for transition. We were talking about being a parent, you know, with Nathan and Amanda on this. But in my time coming into the office, it allows me to switch from dad to teammate to leader, whatever my role is. Because I don't want to come into the office acting like dad. That's not good. I mean, Madison punched me right in the Adam's apple if I start talking to her like I'm dealing with my kids, telling her what to do, why she needs to do it, when she needs to do it. That's not going to work. That approach works for my kids. Doesn't work with Madison. So I don't want to come in as a dad. Now let's flip it. On my way home, the commute, I don't want to walk into the house. And by the way, let me just go ahead and admit this. This has been a source of parental tension for me. So I'm going to own this. I don't want to walk into the house in Ken Coleman Show mode. The last thing my kids want from me is breaking down their day like I do you folks and giving them all these things they need to do, why they need to do it regularly. They just want me to be dad. Or if you're a leader, the last thing your family wants is you walking into the house acting like the manager. So you need to transition. So that wasn't in the article, but I'm going to tell you, that's why I think a commute is great. Hey, if nothing else, you transitioning from whatever mode you've been in, personal mode when you're going in, professional mode when you're going home, you transitioning out of that mode is wonderful for you and your family. So pretty interesting, the psychological benefits of the commute. I love that. I think that's absolutely right. And I think here's what's going on. Think about if you're working from home all the time, you have to be even more intentional to get the positive things that we just laid out in a commute. 844-747-2577. Josh is up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Josh, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. How's it going?
Josh, I'm living the dream. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm stuck in a position, I guess. I work full-time right now. I wouldn't consider myself unhappy at my job, I guess, but I was approached by a friend who used to work with me, and I guess they have an opening at their company who he felt fit me and my skill set, I guess. And while it hadn't led to an offer quite yet, I anticipate a high possibility of that, and I'm kind of getting in the position of thinking of, should I stay or should I go?
Yeah. Oh, I love this question. Should I stay or should I go? All right. So this is the old-fashioned pros and cons, and it's very simple to figure this out. Let's focus on the new opportunity, because I think the current opportunity, I just heard enough of your emotions on the phone to know that that's not a ladder, that you don't feel like that's a long-term play. Is that true or false?
Maybe partially true. I'm in a position where I'm our lead installer out in the field, and I'm highly likely to be our next promoted to a management role.
Okay,
so,
do you want the management role? Is this the ladder that you want to be on?
In ways, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, this was going a little bit. Well, this is good. I'm glad we're going through this. So this is exactly what we want to do. Why would you stay? And one is because you got an opportunity that should present itself soon, or at least it's highly likely that you're going to get an opportunity to step into a management role, which is a rung on the ladder that you want to step up onto. So, okay, that's good. So now when you get offered this other opportunity, you're going, well, is this a better opportunity? So what you have to really figure out with the new thing is does the new job put you on the same rung quicker, or does it put you on a higher rung? That's really what it boils down to. Which job, the one where you are versus the one that you might be offered, which one moves you further up the mountain?
I think where I'm at, it gives me an easier ladder to climb.
I don't like easier as a qualification. I like better, which is the better ladder, not the easier ladder. What's the better ladder? Where you are now, or this other company?
I see at the other company. I don't know if I see as much of a ladder. I think maybe there's a lot more space between rungs. I guess if you say it
I
that way.
love that. Oh, see, yeah, I love analogies because it actually allows us to live within the analogy. And you just said it beautifully. There's a whole lot you think. Let's find out as best you can. The way that you check the box, should I stay or should I go, is you must do more research on the other company. You inherently know more about your current company, obviously. You need to find out more. But it appears, I love the way you said it, it appears as though there's a lot more space between the rungs at the other opportunity. That's a wonderful way of saying that, and that's exactly what I'm coaching you on. If both ladders get you there, which one gets you there better? Which one gets you there faster? It's not always about easier. It's just which one is the best ladder. And you don't have to overthink that. That's pretty darn obvious, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, that's it, my man. Don't overthink this. One of those ladders is the best ladder. That's the one I want. And it's not about easiest. Now, certainly efficiency, yes. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to have to, struggle as much. I'm not going to have to wait as long. If that's what you mean by easy, I'm okay with that. But really, it's the best opportunity to climb where I want to climb. And look at all of that. Don't just look at the finances. Because, sometimes people get distracted by, well, I'm getting a raise, and that makes me feel good. It makes me look good to others. I talked about this on the show the other day. And there's something tempting about somebody else wanting you. It feels nice. Feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you're laughing. I get to tell people, hey, I got an opportunity here. They want me. Oh, it feels real good. And then it looks good. It looks good in two ways. It looks good when you tell everybody else. They go, oh, look at Josh. He's moving up in the world. People want Josh. You look good. But then you look at the money and you go, oh, that looks good too. But you got to be careful. It's not about feeling good and looking good. It's got to be a really good decision strategically for your long term. That's why I teach the 7 stages or climbing. And right now, this is an opportunity to get promoted. You are in stage 5, get promoted. That's the stage you're in your career. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So now it's about what's the best way to get promoted, because you're going to be in stage 5 for a while. Stage 5 of my 7 stages to doing the work you love, what you were born to do, is the longest stage because we're going to get promoted multiple times before we step into the dream job. So I think you know what you got to look into. You need to get very clear and do not overthink this. The facts are the facts. There's no overanalyzing here. Don't start to overanalyze. It's one of these is going to be a very clear choice, and that's the one you make, and don't look back. You got it?
Yeah.
You got this, Josh. I appreciate you. Thank you for the call. My time is almost up. But before I let you go, remember this, folks. You do matter, and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.